Hi, I'm Cassidy. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. One click from you means more stories can be shared. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers and make a difference. Let's begin. The day my son Tyler was diagnosed with scoliosis was the day I learned who my real family was. And surprisingly, it wasn't the people who shared my blood. Mrs. Parker, Tyler's curvature has progressed to the point where we recommend surgical intervention, Dr. Sharma said, her eyes kind but serious. The good news is, with the right procedure, he has an excellent chance of complete recovery. My husband Mark squeezed my hand as we sat in the sterile office, the weight of her words settling between us. How soon? I asked, my throat tight. I'd recommend within the next 2 months. Any longer and we risk further progression. And what happens if we wait longer? Mark asked, his voice steady despite the worry I could feel radiating from him. Dr. Sharma's expression grew more serious. The curve could worsen significantly. We might face nerve damage, chronic pain issues, even respiratory problems down the road. This isn't something we want to delay. That evening, I called my sister Diana first. We'd always been close, or so I thought. Hey, Di, got a minute? I've got some news about Tyler. Sure, what's up? Her voice sounded distracted. Tyler needs surgery. For his spine. It's pretty serious. The line went quiet for a moment. Oh, wow, that's tough. What does insurance cover? No. Is he okay? No. How are you handling it? Just straight to money? Most of it, but we're still looking at about $15,000 out of pocket. Yikes. Well, you guys have always been good with money, right? I'm sure you'll figure it out. Actually, Di, I was hoping maybe you could help. Just a small loan to... Oh, Cass, you know things are tight with the new house. Brian and I are stretched thin right now. The same Brian who had posted photos of their Aspen ski trip last month. The same Diana who had just bought a second car. I understand. No worries, I said, swallowing my disappointment. Is there anyone else you can ask? What about that friend of yours, Emma? She's doing well at that law firm, right? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want me to ask my friend before my own sister? Don't make this awkward, Cass. I would if I could, you know that. Right, sure. I'll talk to you later. My parents were next. Surely they would help their only grandson. Mom, Dad, Tyler needs surgery. The doctor says it can't wait. My mother Eleanor's voice dropped to a whisper. Oh dear, what terrible timing. Timing? Mom, this is my son's health we're talking about. My father, Richard, took over the phone. What your mother means is we've just committed to that timeshare in Florida. The money's already gone, Cassidy. I'm not asking for a gift, Dad. Just a loan. We'd pay you back with interest. Honey, we've always taught you to stand on your own 2 feet. This is part of being a parent, handling these unexpected costs. Easy for them to say. When I was 12 and needed braces, my grandparents had paid for everything. Besides, my mother chimed in, isn't this why you have Mark? His family has money. Had money, I corrected, before his dad's business failed and they lost everything. Well, figure it out, dear. You always do. We raised you to be resourceful. In the weeks that followed, Mark and I worked overtime, took out a loan, and scraped together the money. Tyler's surgery was scheduled for June 15th. 3 days before, I sent a group text to my family. Tyler's surgery is this Thursday at Memorial Hospital. Starts at 8 a.m., should last about 6 hours. We could really use your support. Diana. Oh, Thursday is tough. Jacob has a soccer tournament. Mom. We have that charity luncheon, remember? The one I told you about months ago? Dad. I'll see if I can stop by after work. None of them showed. Not before, not during, not after. 6 hours I sat in that waiting room, Mark rushing back and forth between work calls and being with me. Our neighbors brought us food. Mark's coworker offered to cover his shift. My best friend Emma flew in from Chicago. But my family? Radio silence. Tyler recovered beautifully, thank God. 3 months later, he was almost back to normal. Just in time for my sister's birthday party. You're coming, right? Diana asked over the phone. Everyone will be there. Everyone except you when my son was having his spine realigned, I replied. Cassidy, don't be dramatic. We had prior commitments. So do I. Sorry. I hung up and blocked her number. 2 weeks later, my parents showed up unannounced at our front door. It was the first time they'd seen Tyler since before his surgery. Grandma! Grandpa! Tyler exclaimed, his face lighting up despite everything. There's our brave boy, my father said, ruffling his hair. Looking good, champ. Over dinner, they were uncharacteristically interested in our lives. How was work? How was Mark's new project? How were our finances? After Tyler went to bed, the real reason for their visit emerged. Cassidy, we need to talk about something important, my father began, folding his hands on our kitchen table. Your mother and I have run into a bit of financial trouble. I raised an eyebrow. What kind of trouble? The timeshare. It wasn't quite what was advertised. We're in a legal battle and our assets are temporarily frozen. My mother leaned forward. We need to borrow $20,000, just until this is sorted out. I stared at them, then burst out laughing. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh that comes when something is so absurd, so painfully ironic that your body doesn't know how else to respond. You're joking, right? Tell me this is a sick joke. Cassidy Ann Parker. My father's voice hardened. This is no laughing matter. We're your parents. And Tyler is your grandson. The grandson whose surgery you couldn't be bothered to show up for. The grandson whose medical bills you refused to help with. That was different, my mother insisted. You had options. So do you, I shot back. Sell the timeshare. Downsize your house. Ask Diana, she's always been your favorite anyway. We've already asked Diana, my father admitted. She can't help right now. Can't or won't? I asked, knowing my sister's spending habits all too well. That's beside the point. We're family, Cassidy. Family helps family. Mark, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke. That's interesting, Richard. Where was that family philosophy 3 months ago? My father's face reddened. You stay out of this. This is between Cassidy and us. No, I said firmly. Mark is my family. Tyler is my family. You two are just relatives. How dare you? My mother gasped. After all we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me lately, Mom? Did you hold my hand while my son was in surgery? Did you bring us meals during recovery? Did you even call to check in? We were busy, she muttered. And now we're busy too. Busy rebuilding our savings after paying for Tyler's surgery ourselves. My father leaned forward, his voice dropping to that persuasive tone he used with clients. Cassidy, honey, I know you're upset about the surgery thing. We should have been there, I admit that. But this is different. This is our retirement at stake. Your retirement? I repeated incredulously. You mean the retirement you prioritized over your grandson's health? The retirement you're funding with luxury timeshares while we remortgaged our house for medical bills? It wasn't like that, my mother protested. We had commitments. A charity luncheon, I stated flatly. You chose a charity luncheon over your grandson's spinal surgery. Well, when you put it like that, my father began. How else should I put it, Dad? Please, explain to me how I'm misunderstanding the situation. Cassidy, my father's tone shifted to one I recognized from childhood, the guilt trip voice. Your mother and I won't forget this betrayal. Mark stood up. I think it's time for you both to leave. This isn't over, my father warned as they headed for the door. Oh, it's definitely over, I replied. After they left, I broke down in Mark's arms. Am I a terrible daughter? You're an amazing mother, he answered. And that's what matters most right now. But what if they really do lose everything? What if this lawsuit thing is serious? Mark's eyes were gentle but firm. Cass, remember when we were sitting in that hospital waiting room? Remember who showed up and who didn't? I remember. They made their choice when it mattered most. Now you're making yours, that's all. The fallout was swift and predictable. Diana called the next day, furious. What is wrong with you? Mom and Dad need help. Where was your help when Tyler needed surgery? Where were you? Jacob's tournament was important to him. More important than your nephew's spinal surgery? Good to know where we stand. You don't understand. Jacob was being scouted. This could affect his future. Tyler's surgery affected his ability to walk normally for the rest of his life. But sure, let's talk about soccer. She hung up on me. I didn't bother calling back. A week later, Emma called with surprising news. You won't believe who I ran into at Westfield Mall. Your mom and Diana shopping up a storm. 3 bags from Nordstrom, 1 from Tiffany. Financially troubled, huh? I said, shaking my head. That's not all. I overheard them talking about a cruise they're planning for Thanksgiving. I felt a strange sense of calm. Thanks for letting me know. What are you going to do? Nothing, I replied. Absolutely nothing. The following Sunday, I posted on Facebook for the first time in months. Grateful beyond words for the people who showed up when Tyler needed surgery. To our real family, Emma, the Johnsons next door, Mark's team at work. Your love and support meant everything. Sometimes the family you choose is more reliable than the family you're born into. I tagged everyone who had helped us. Everyone except my blood relatives. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up with texts from extended family members. What happened with your parents and Tyler's surgery? Diana seems upset about your post. Everything okay? Did something happen between you and your family? I didn't respond to any of them directly. Instead, I posted a follow-up. For those asking, yes, Tyler had major spinal surgery 3 months ago. No, my parents and sister didn't find it important enough to attend. Yes, they refused to help financially. And yes, they showed up at my door last week demanding $20,000 for their timeshare problems. Draw your own conclusions about what kind of people do that. By evening, my mother called, hysterical. How could you air our dirty laundry like that? Everyone is talking. Imagine how I felt sitting alone in that hospital while my son was having his spine operated on. Imagine how it felt to beg my family for help and be rejected. We're going to be excluded from Thanksgiving at Aunt Meredith's because of you. Because of me. Or because of what you did. You have no idea what you've done, she sobbed. Your father's business partners are calling, asking questions. People are looking at us differently at church. Maybe they should. Maybe they should know who you really are. We made one mistake. No, Mom. You made a choice. And now everyone knows what kind of choice it was. My Aunt Meredith called me the next day. Cassidy, I had no idea about Tyler's surgery. Why didn't you tell the family? I told the people who needed to know. The people I thought cared. Well, your uncle and I care. We're sending a check to help with the medical bills. That's very kind, but we've managed. We always do. Still, we want to. And by the way, your parents and Diana aren't coming to Thanksgiving this year. I made it clear they weren't welcome after what they did. Word spread through our extended family. Suddenly, relatives I hadn't heard from in years were checking in on Tyler, sending care packages, offering support. My parents and Diana found themselves increasingly isolated. My father's business partner, who had been my godfather since birth, called me directly. Cassidy, I've known your father for 30 years. I thought I knew what kind of man he was. And now? Now I'm not so sure. He tried to get me to invest in that timeshare scheme, said it was foolproof. I almost did it. Dad has always been good at convincing people to do things that benefit him, I said. Well, not anymore. I'm dissolving our partnership. Wanted you to hear it from me first. Within 2 months, my father's business was struggling. Without his partner's connections and capital, clients began to drift away. Diana's husband, Brian, who worked for my father, suddenly found himself with uncertain job prospects. My mother called again, this time without the attitude. Cassidy, things are bad. Really bad. Your father might lose the business. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, genuinely meaning it. Despite everything, I didn't want them to suffer. I just wanted them to understand. Brian might lose his job. Diana's worried about their mortgage. That sounds stressful. Can't you talk to Dad's partner? Tell him it was all a misunderstanding? It wasn't a misunderstanding, Mom. It was a pattern of behavior. A pattern I finally stood up against. We're still your family, she whispered. You forfeited that privilege when you abandoned Tyler. 6 months after Tyler's surgery, my parents lost their house. They moved into a rental half the size. Diana and Brian had to pull their kids from private school. My father's business closed its doors. Mark and I, meanwhile, had been promoted at our respective jobs. The loan for Tyler's surgery was paid off ahead of schedule. We put in an offer on a bigger house with a pool. Tyler's dream. On the day we closed on the new house, I received a letter, handwritten from my father. Cassidy, I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know that now. What I did, was unforgivable. Abandoning Tyler in his time of need, then having the audacity to ask you for money. I have no excuses. Everything that's happened since, the business, the house, I see it as karma, the universe giving me what I deserved. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for reconciliation. I just want you to know that I understand now. I was wrong. We were all wrong. Tyler deserved better grandparents. You deserved better parents. Dad. I showed the letter to Mark. Are you going to respond? He asked. No, I said, folding the letter and putting it in a drawer. Some bridges stay burned. Tyler is 14 now. His scar has faded to a thin line down his back. My parents have never met the daughter we adopted 2 years ago. Diana sends birthday cards with no return address. Last week, I ran into my mother at the grocery store. She's aged 20 years and 5. We made brief eye contact before she quickly turned her cart down another aisle. Emma, who now lives nearby, asked me if I ever regret how things turned out. I regret that my children don't have grandparents, I told her honestly. I regret that my family couldn't be the people I needed them to be. But I don't regret standing up for myself and my son. I don't regret demanding better. They really did lose everything, Emma remarked. No, I corrected her. They lost their money and their status. I lost my family. There's a difference. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if they had simply shown up at the hospital that day. One small act of human decency might have changed everything that followed. But they made their choice, and I made mine. Some people say blood is thicker than water, but I've learned that's not true. Blood is just blood. Love, respect, and showing up when it matters. That's what makes a family. And now, standing in my new kitchen, watching Tyler swim in our backyard pool with his little sister, I know I have all the family I need. What would you have done in my position? Would you have helped your parents despite their absence during your child's surgery? Or would you have made the same choice I did? I'm curious how others would have handled this situation.